I'm going to give you 7 signs that may indicate a woman hasn't been with a man for a long time. If you can spot them, you'll be able to figure out what she's feeling and how to approach her in a respectful and thoughtful way. It's about how she feels and the energy she gives off when she wants something but hasn't gotten it yet. Hello, my name is Celia. If this is your first time on my channel, I hope you've ever wondered how to tell if a woman hasn't been intimate in a while. Please click the bell icon and subscribe. You'll be surprised and learn how to improve your mental and personal lives here. Let's begin with the first thing that everyone knows. The body doesn't lie. Body language is intriguing, especially when a woman is communicating more than she is aware of. For example, after a period of time without sexual contact, her body automatically starts to release pent-up tension. While she may not always intentionally display sexual energy, the warning signs are there, and, with the right observation skills, you can pick up on the unmasked sexual energy in slight gestures. Let me share a story with you. A buddy of mine told me a few years back about a co-worker who had begun acting strangely around him. It wasn't a noticeable change, but there were specifics in the way she moved when she was close to him. He explained how she would lean slightly closer to him during what appeared to be a casual conversation, maintain eye contact for longer than usual, and play with her hair in a way he hadn't noticed before. Instead of overt flirtation, a more subdued yet consistent energy was starting to emerge. When a woman hasn't had sexual touch for a long time, her body begins searching for methods to relieve the stress. She might not even be aware of it, but her body shows it. The body doesn't lie, but words can conceal or alter the truth. Psychological studies have shown that suppressed sexual energy can appear through repetitive behaviors like touching her hair, biting her lips, or making prolonged, subtle physical contact with the person in front of her. These behaviors are simple to miss if you're not paying attention, but if you do, you'll know what's happening. Body language is a direct way to read someone's emotions. This is a woman with whom you haven't had any personal relations in a long time. When speaking with a woman, it's important to pay attention to her body language. If she stares at you longer than usual, touches her lips or hair unconsciously, or wants to be close to you even when she doesn't have to, she may be trying to release sexual energy. Keep in mind that everything matters unless they specifically say so. Body language will reveal everything about long-term non-sexual women. She may lean toward you or touch you repeatedly, indicating her desire is seeking an outlet, so it's important to avoid making snap judgments or misinterpreting each gesture. The second element is humor, which is both enjoyable and thought-provoking. It's interesting to note how humor can lead to intimacy, as after a period of time without intimacy, a woman may start experimenting with ideas, comments, and jokes that she may have previously ignored frequently. If you pay attention to these body language cues, you can begin to react more naturally and intuitively because she's subtly revealing to you that there's more to her words and her smile than you've yet discovered. She uses sly or double-edged humor to gauge your reaction, and she doesn't do it by accident. Imagine this. On a typical afternoon with a group of friends, she says something that might have been taken as a joke in a different context, but this time, there's something different about it. Perhaps the comment carries a more personal undertone, such as, "It's been so long since anything exciting has happened in my life," eliciting a light laugh and a slightly longer than usual look. The hint-laced humor is not a coincidence. A few months ago, one of my friends told me about his neighbor. He used to talk to her in a nice, casual manner, but suddenly she began making slightly bolder jokes. The psychology of humor is intriguing, especially when it comes to human relationships. At first, he believed it was just us talking, but he soon understood there was more going on. The tension between them had been rising, and these jokes seemed harmless. Humor is a powerful way to connect with people, and when a woman uses double entendre, she's doing it to see how they react. Of course, she will not be overt, as she understands the delicate balance between suggestion and discomfort, but her subtle provocation serves as a tactic to gauge your willingness to engage. It's not just what she says, but how she says it. If she starts talking about private things or making bold comments in a casual chat, it's likely that she's trying to tell you something. What's interesting is that she often disguises it as humor. To protect herself, if she doesn't get the reaction she's hoping for, she can easily laugh it off and move on as if nothing happened. But if you catch the tone and the conversation becomes a little more charged with that playful banter, then you'll know there's something deeper at play. I remember a friend of mine, Mara, who always said humor was her secret weapon. She once admitted that she makes jokes about intimate topics to determine whether he is willing to engage in a playful exchange. Pay attention, and don't just focus on the laughter or the surface of the comment when she starts joking about previously unexplored subjects. Playful, provocative humor is an invitation to enter her emotional world, and in many cases, a clear indication that it's been a while since she's had intimate contact, and that her mind and body are seeking a connection. Third, the need for physical affection. One of the most straightforward ways for a woman to express herself is through physical contact, and after a while of being alone, her demand for physical love may gradually but noticeably grow. I'm not talking about overt physical affection like embraces or kisses, but rather about small, intimate actions that try to communicate ideas she might not feel comfortable sharing out loud. He informed me that his contacts with Laura, a co-worker of an old friend, had changed. Instead of greeting her casually, he now extended his embrace or lightly touched her arm during discussion. At first, he didn't believe this was appropriate. There were many such gestures, but as time progressed, their prevalence increased. They weren't invasive, but they expressed a need for intimacy, a desire for touch, or a silent plea for attention. If you don't know how to read these body language cues, they might not seem significant, but when a woman hasn't been close to someone for a while, her body seeks affection in regular interactions. It's as though she's trying to remember what it's like to be close to someone. She's not requesting sex, but the need for physical contact begins to manifest itself in little ways, such as when she hugs you, touches you, or simply stays near you. It's fascinating that these behaviors aren't always prearranged, as studies have shown that people experience a larger demand for tactile affection when they don't have any physical touch. This is a normal bodily reaction to a lack of closeness. A woman may not even be conscious of her desire for closeness with a guy. Her body simply responds to this instinctual need. When a woman instinctively seeks warmth and closeness, it's crucial to pay attention, even if it's a simple gesture. Touch on the shoulder while you talk. The way her hug lasts just a second longer than usual when she says goodbye, or the way her legs brush against yours in a casual but persistent way while you're sitting close. These are signs that there's more going on than just friendship or casual interaction, but remember, respect is key. Now is not the time to mistake every touch for a direct invitation. Instead, it is time to carefully read the situation and react with care. If a woman hasn't had close contact with you in a while, she may want affection, but she also needs to feel safe and understood. So the next time you feel that small brush of her hand on your arm, or that hug that lasts a little longer, take a moment to ask yourself if she's looking for something more beloved beneath those unassuming actions. There might be an immense realm awaiting exploration, changing the way a woman talks. When a woman hasn't been intimate for a long time, the way she talks can change in small but meaningful ways. Suddenly, what used to be everyday conversations became more personal and deep, touching on topics she may have avoided or skimmed over before. At this point, you should improve your listening skills, as a woman can reveal her unfulfilled needs when she feels secure in your presence and yearns for more. I remember talking to my friend Isabel, who mentioned how, after months of not being with someone, her conversations with certain close friends started to take a different direction. "I don't do it intentionally," she said, "but I find myself talking about my past relationships, or how I miss feeling connected to someone, that vulnerability creeping into the conversation, that desire to share something more intimate, is a clear sign that there's something within her waiting to surface when a woman starts talking about her love life, or rather, the lack of it. It's not because it's just a casual topic. She might tell you how much she's changed since her last relationship, or even drop lines like, "I can't even remember what it feels like to be with someone." She might say it with a smile, but behind those words, there's a deeper message. She's opening a window into her inner world, showing you that there's a void that has been there for a while, and maybe now it's starting to weigh on her more. According to an article I read about emotional communication, people who are lonely or in need of an intimate connection often open up more about themselves in an attempt to find the missing emotional bond. When a woman who hasn't been intimate with you for a while begins to discuss these subjects, it's not a coincidence. She's searching for a safe place where she can express herself, and if she feels comfortable enough to do so, it's a clear indication that something more could be possible. These conversations often begin innocently, perhaps discussing relationships in general, or what it means to truly connect with someone. However, if she begins to discuss more intimate topics, such as how lonely she is, or what she misses about being in a relationship, you should listen carefully. This isn't just her venting. She's letting you see how she's truly feeling, and this is where you need to be careful. Give her time to talk about how she feels, and listen intently without interrupting her. That's what she wants. If you're enjoying the video so far and feel like you're learning something new, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up to support this content. I also advise watching it through to the end, because those who are genuinely committed to comprehending these signs and fortifying their relationships will find the most illuminating insights. Someone who truly listens doesn't discount the personal conversation. She needs to know that someone hears her and understands her feelings. She may not express it explicitly, but if you delve deeper and respond with empathy, her transparency fosters a deeper connection in every aspect. I would like to know your point of view, as I have a final piece of advice that could potentially surprise you and significantly influence your life. Now let's discuss number 5. The jealousy that is hidden. Women can display their jealousy in subtle ways that are nearly impossible to notice, but after a prolonged period of intimacy, these subtle jealousies can begin to manifest in unexpected ways. They won't be overt or dramatic, but you'll notice subtle reactions that give you hints about what's going on inside her. This type of envy is not only ego-driven, it is the result of a deep, buried desire. Under wraps, consider jokingly bringing up another woman with colleagues or co-workers. If a woman you're close to becomes silent for a longer period of time than usual, pay close attention to her response, as it could alter the conversation. You may be observing a sign when someone brings up a topic or jokes casually. It's not possessive jealousy, but rather an internal reaction that says, "I wish I were the one getting that attention." This reminds me of Carolina, a college friend who was always calm and laid back when we spoke, but everything changed when I started dating someone new. Carolina never said anything aloud, but I began to notice small details. When I mentioned my new girlfriend, she would either respond more quickly or make subtly suggestive remarks like, "Well, some people get lucky in love." It wasn't a direct argument, but rather a quiet, persistent response that I found difficult to understand at the time. These silent jealousies, which are often the result of women who have not had physical or emotional intimacy in a long time, are a blatant indication of hidden interest and insecurity. This lack of intimacy may lead them to unconsciously defend your relationship, even if they don't explicitly express it in their demeanor or actions around other women. Women are aware that jealousy doesn't always manifest negatively. In fact, it can be a strategy for her to regain control of your life. For example, if you talk to her in a similar way, she may ask you a light-hearted question or make a sarcastic remark, but underneath the humor is a faint undertone of concern that stems from a developing desire to be the one concentrating on someone else rather than a real conflict. The next time you're talking to a woman you like, pay attention to those subtle signs. They could be a pause in the conversation, a slight tension in her expression, or a comment that seems like a joke but really means that more often than not, her words may convey her longing for intimacy with you, and she hopes that you will notice. Psychology researchers have long studied jealousy and found that when it manifests in a healthy way, it can signal interest and desire. It's like an internal alarm that tells us that the person we're interested in is important to us and that we want to keep that connection strong. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just be there for her and show her that the attention she wants is already hers without the need for competition. What she really wants isn't a fight, but a deeper connection with you, invitations to spend time alone. Sometimes a woman's actions, not her words, are the clearest signs that she wants to get closer to you. I know this to be true because shared moments of intimacy help us lower our guard and see if there's really a spark that goes beyond friendship. After being single for a while, I remember finding that I looked for times to be alone with people who interested me. I didn't do it directly, but instead of going out with a group or hanging out with friends, I'd suggest something quieter, like dinner or a movie at home. This is because sometimes what a woman wants, especially if she hasn't been intimate in a while, is to create moments where closeness can happen naturally without feeling forced. There's a reason we prefer these more private settings. The invitation may seem innocent at first, but it hides a deeper meaning. When I've been in those situations, I've felt a mixture of excitement and curiosity. On the one hand, I wanted to see how the other person would act in a more intimate setting without distractions. On the other hand, when a woman asks you to do something alone with her, she's not just trying to pass the time or talk. She's creating a space where emotional and possibly physical intimacy can grow without interruptions or distractions from other people. I was also investigating the possibility of a shared interest in connecting outside of routine activities. After a period of separation, it becomes more evident that we need to be near someone for a deeper conversation or just to feel their presence. Often, when we're alone with someone, we find ourselves drawn to spontaneous moments. Perhaps it's a shared laugh that breaks the ice and leads to a deeper connection, or perhaps it's a conversation that becomes more intimate than expected. It's not only about being physically near someone, it's also about establishing a relaxed environment where conversations flow more easily and looks stay longer than usual. If a woman ever suggests plans for just the two of you, pay attention. It's not just about spending time together, it's about determining intimacy availability. More importantly, notice how the dynamic changes when you're alone. Sometimes sharing a quiet space can reveal more than you think. Sometimes genuine connection occurs in these moments. It's not about making big gestures or expecting a quick response. Sometimes just being present in the silence and enjoying each other's company says a lot. If she asks you to spend time alone, understand that she's opening a door for you if you can discern her intentions. This marks the beginning of something much deeper. When flirting becomes consistent, the tone shifts. It seems as though every conversation between you suddenly has a different charge, a stronger energy, and the subtle game gets stronger. This is a common occurrence for women who haven't been intimate for a long time. Every conversation and every word in that never-ending game suddenly feels like a small provocation, even though it's no longer just a grin or a fleeting glance here and there. I can speak from personal experience when I say that flirting can turn into a way for a woman to gauge your reaction when she begins to feel lust for you. It's not something she plans. It just happens that the jokes change tone, the words begin to have multiple meanings, and the eye contact lasts long enough for both of you to realize that your conversations are more than just light conversation. If you listen closely, you'll notice that her remarks start to sound a little more playful, and her tone of voice changes a bit when things get more personal. For instance, she may tease you with a joke that goes too far, or she may laugh more intensely when you make a bolder statement after a period of time without a close relationship. It's intriguing that this flirting is neither forced nor aggressive. Rather, it's more like a dance with both people pushing and pulling without saying anything. The psychology of seduction teaches us that repeatedly flirting is a sign of interest and a way to determine whether you like someone without making a firm commitment. I remember flirting more frequently with someone I liked. It wasn't intentional, but I noticed that my comments became more direct and that the game of seduction became a constant part of our conversations. The flirting never stopped, as if we were waiting for the next step. When a woman hasn't had a physical connection with someone in a while, she finds the game of seduction more appealing. However, as she looks for ways to express herself and build relationships with others, the situation may get worse. It's interesting that this kind of flirting can go on for weeks or even months without either of you going overboard. It seems like you're both enjoying the game, and the tension builds gradually over time. The important thing is to know what to do if she flirts with you constantly. She's not just doing it for fun, she's doing it to maintain the spark and let you know she's interested without having to say it aloud. How can you tell if this flirting has a deeper meaning? It's not enough to initiate the conversation. You also need to understand that if she hasn't been intimate with you in a while, she is likely reaching out to you to see if you're interested in a deeper relationship. In this case, patience is crucial. Pay attention to whether it only happens with you. Look for a consistent pattern in her behavior during your time together. She consistently maintains a light and playful tone. Every conversation carries a slightly heavier emotional weight than it should. When you find yourself in the midst of an endless game of jokes, double meanings, and knowing smiles, realize that something more is at play. This constant flirting is her way of expressing her readiness for something more, but she wants you to be the one to uncover it. In the end, it all boils down to your ability to perceive what words may not always convey. The signs a woman leaves when she's been without intimacy for a while aren't an impenetrable mystery, but rather glimpses of emotions, desires and needs seeking to be understood. What we've explored today is much, much more than a guide to understanding her subtle language. It's an invitation to connect from a more authentic and respectful place, because behind every gesture, every glance, there's a story waiting to be discovered, a desire to be seen, heard, and perhaps loved in life. It's those small moments of attention and true understanding that transform our relationships. And when you learn to read these signs with empathy and care, you become someone who's not just looking to fulfill a superficial need, but someone who understands and values what the other person is truly communicating. My name is Celia, and I want this to be a place of wisdom and reflection where we can openly discuss these topics, always with respect. Here we explore not only intimacy, but how to improve our everyday lives in every aspect. Because every small change we make within ourselves is reflected in our relationships and the well-being of those around us. If this is your first time on my channel, I invite you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming topics. And if you've made it this far, I congratulate you because it means you value your personal growth, and that deserves recognition. To know who among you is committed to this journey of self-discovery. Tell me where you're listening from and leave a comment saying, "I love wisdom." I'd love to read your remarks and connect with like-minded others. Additionally, remember to share this video with anyone who might benefit from it. Sometimes a small concept or piece of advice can have a significant impact on someone's life. Stay tuned for the next video, and remember that comprehension matters more than hearing.